Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm in the office. I'm back in the office. Hey, did you know, by the way, that there's a thing called the FBMA? Yeah, the Phone Booth Managers Association. Did you know that? Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and they have this. You want to hear the joke that's going around in the group? Yeah, what do you call a hippopotamus in a phone booth? Stuck. Have a good day. Bye. All right. Everybody needs a little humor. Okay, so another beautiful day. I think we might even hit a record here for temperature in Niagara. We're going to be somewhere around 20 degrees Celsius. I think the record is 20.9. Who knew? Anyway, just a beautiful day. Thanks for being here. Season 2, Episode 12 of the Niagara 411 Live, fueled by Gales Gas Bars Limited, powered by WeeStream. We are hosted by Fiddler's Poorhouse. We'll be in there in just a couple of minutes. And also our sponsors that have jumped on board in the last few weeks, which are just awesome. Performance Heating and Air. We have Simpson's PharmaSafe Pharmacies in Virgil and Niagara-on-the-Lake. And our most recent sponsor with us for the first time last week, Verge Insurance Group. Just happy to have everybody on board today. And boy, have we got a lot to do. Big story of the week around Niagara is a rescue dog story, and it all came out well. But there's a lot of background. We'll talk on the backstory of that. We're going to clear up some COVID vaccination stats and processes for you from the exiting fire chief of Niagara Falls and a whole whack of other things. So come on in to the Fiddler's Poorhouse. By the way, they're open at noon right now for lunch Wednesday through Sunday, I guess. Yeah, so, and come on in. Here we go, and we have the luxury, ladies and gentlemen, we have luxury of sitting in this beautiful open air window at Fiddler's Poorhouse. It just feels like summer. I know we just started spring last weekend, but just feels like summer. Stick around to be right back, okay? And here we go, Season 2, Episode 12. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful sunshine, live, open air set here on St. Paul Street. And just super to have you folks with us. Now, we know that the forecasters have us headed for some more cold weather on the weekend. I mean, you can really never count spring and winter out until you get a little further along in the season, but March has been just a really, really beautiful month. Want to tell you something about what's coming up on the program today. We have got coming up about 1 o'clock this afternoon, the executive director of the Niagara Community Foundation. His name is Bryan Rose, and we're really looking forward to talking to Bryan. One of the things, just to give you a little background on how some of these things happen on the program, one of the things that we offer our sponsors is a once in a while interview to come on and tell us about their company and what they're doing, etc. It's one of the perks of supporting us. We support them. It's turnabout is fair play sort of policy. Well, when we were chatting with Jessica Friesen, who is the head of Gales Gas here in Niagara, Jessica said, I don't really want to come on and talk about myself. I would really rather use my interview time to talk about another community enterprise, something that's important to the community, as is the Niagara Community Foundation. So kudos to Jessica and Gales for turning over their sponsorship time to promote, once again, something that's very, very important and helps Niagara out on the charity side of things. And we'll tell you a lot more about that when Bryan joins us at around 1 o'clock this afternoon. All right, so that's one of the things I wanted to mention to you. The other thing that's coming up, or one of the other things that's coming up, is a story that has been, should I say, rabid, viral around Niagara, and that is the rescue of the dogs in that Niagara facility. And I use the term facility loosely. You're familiar with what I'm talking about. There it is right there. Kevin, you're going to play that little vignette for us. This is the property. Montrose and something or other in Niagara. Now, I don't know how any humans live on that kind of property, but it can't be good for them or the dogs. And there you see in the background, dogs in cages. When they see the camera, they're up on their haunches trying to get attention. There's another one there. Everybody, and just obviously wanting out. So, Wyatt Richardson is a young man that's going to be joining us about 12:30 today. He was part of a peaceful protest that took place to try to bring attention to this situation, and it did bring attention to the situation, and right now it has been all rolled over into the auspices of the SPCA. As of this morning, and we might get an update, and it might have been totally resolved, but as of this morning, all of the dogs had been rescued, and there was maybe one left outstanding who was very shy, and they were having a bit of a difficult time catching this dog to rescue him, or her. So we're going to be bringing Wyatt Richardson on to the program about 12:30 today to talk about that movement that you've been reading about this week, and it does look like we're going to have a happy ending. There is still a way for you to help because there were a number of dogs, and there are contributions still being accepted to help look after and care for these animals that were not living in the best set of conditions here in Niagara. So that's coming up as well. We have a changing of the guard in Niagara Falls with regard to fire chiefs. Fire Chief Jim Boutillier is, Jim, if I fractured your name, I'm sorry, but I think we got it right. Jim Boutillier, who I've spoken with many times over the years here in Niagara, is retiring, and good luck to him in his retirement. You've earned it, and we hope you enjoy it. And the new fire chief is Joe Sambito. Well, this past week, and Joe, good luck with the job. Congratulations on the appointment, and we hope that you do well and excel as fire chief of Niagara Falls. Now, this past week, though, our outgoing fire chief gave an address, and it was a really effective one, because one of the criticisms of Niagara, well, of Ontario, the whole COVID thing, you can expand it worldwide, actually, is confusion. There are so many mixed messages about what's going on, right? Well, Chief Boutillier gave us a really, really good, clear explanation of where we are in the Niagara Falls area with regard to the COVID vaccinations. Well, actually across Niagara, for that matter, because we're all interconnected, as you know. So we are going to be bringing you the whole thing a little bit later in the program, probably to play us out near the end of the program, because it's what, Kevin, a 12-minute video or something?
Yeah, about 15 minutes. We do have an excerpt, though, but trust me, the 12 minutes, it answers every question that you've wanted to know. If you've kind of been asleep, honestly, Lee, the news seems a little redundant, doesn't it? Day after day after day.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I think some of us just tune it out. This is 12 minutes, everything you need to know about not just where we as a nation or a province, but where we in Niagara stand when it comes to COVID-19 vaccinations.
Yeah.
Who is getting vaccinated currently, who's next to get vaccinated, when you get your second shot, the types of shots available. Right now, I want to share an excerpt from that video.
Okay, cool.
And
Let's do that.
It talks about the mass vaccination clinics taking place across Niagara, of which the first was McBain Center in Niagara Falls.
And that was up to the 23rd a couple days ago.
So that one is now closed, but they are making their way to arenas and community centers across Niagara. So here's the outgoing fire chief from Niagara Falls, Jim Boutillier, and this is from Tuesday's Niagara Falls City Council meeting.
Excellent. Here we go.
Niagara Falls Clinic at the McBain is now closed after today. Public Health is going to do rotating clinics across the region to ensure that everybody across the region has a vaccination clinic in their community at least once. So the next stop is in Welland tomorrow. They'll be at the YMCA in Welland for 3 days, and then Grimsby YMCA. Port Erie will be the leisure plex. Niagara-on-the-Lake will be the community center. Wainfleet will be the firefighters community hall. West Lincoln will be the community center. St. Catharines and Thorold is a joint one, and that'll be at Brock. Lincoln is the community center. For Colborne, I do not have at this point.
Okay, and
Pelham
I heard
will be
a
at
couple
the
of people
MCC.
talking. I was not involved in the conversation. It was in a retailer here in Niagara, and this older gentleman said, I had my shot. He was telling the clerk behind the counter, I had my shot. People seem to be happy. They seem to be proud of the fact that, hey, I made it. I got the poke, you know. And this gentleman was very, very pleased. And the clerk asked him how it went. He said, oh, it was great. Everybody was fine. It was well organized, and things are good. So it is providing some peace of mind. We are far from being out of the proverbial woods, of course. But the people that have been able to get in and get that shot and feel somewhat secure in the fact that they are at least, for the moment, protected as they should be, they seem really, really, pleased about it. So that was Fire Chief Jim Boutillier, and again, we wish our new chief, Joe Sambito, as much success going forward. Kevin, there were some other things happening in the planet. Now, just a little while ago, a lot of people don't realize this, but Mr. Jack, I had to show this video right off near the top. First of all, Kevin Jack, ladies and gentlemen, he is the creator of this program, co-owner of WeeStreem, and they are the people that provide such quality streaming for any event or program or meeting, etc., campaign, anything that you have on your plate here in Niagara. Very cost effective, very high quality, and we just love doing the show. To be perfectly honest, and this is not putting too fine a point on it, it tickles me pink because it has given me an opportunity to sort of rejuvenate myself. We say over the time people have opportunities to reinvent themselves. Well, after 47 years in the traditional media realm, I was in the back in the corner in the dark doing voice recordings and things like that. And well, that's neither here nor there, except that's my business. And Kevin reached out and said, hey, what do you think about doing this new thing? And for a bit of a long in the tooth traditional broadcaster, I said, okay, why don't we take a flyer on it? And the latest numbers that we were able to glean from the response to the program are through the roof. They are outstanding for a program of this sort. And so I thank Kevin for kind of giving me a chance to reinvent myself in an age when we are full of reinvention. And that's what the COVID era is going to be all about. I am firmly convinced there is going to be so much innovation, there is going to be so much renewed energy by the time people come out of the other side of this, because they will be able to realize that they can do things they never thought they could do.
Cool. Well, thank you, Lee. And I got to say that it just is a testament to all of the hidden talent that is wasting away across Niagara right now without an outlet, especially due to COVID. Let us be your outlet. You know, we put the link there. Anybody can join the program at any time. If you click on the link, please make sure that you turn your camera on. That way I can see when I know that you do want to come on the program. But we're live here Thursdays noon until 1:30, and anybody can come on at any time and just share your stories of whatever they happen to be. So I'd encourage people to do so. And Lee, today, because of the beautiful weather, The door is open.
The door is open. You can come on in here to Fiddler's Poorhouse on St. Paul Street. Have a seat and watch the program go down live right in living color in front of you, and have a burger and a refreshment or whatever you feel and enjoy yourself. They are now open at noon here at Fiddler's from Wednesday to Sunday, and then the other days of the week they open at 3. All right? So
now, Lee, where you were going with this, I think, was my new auto purchase.
Yes. Right? See, I got so sidetracked here, but what you don't realize is, nor should you, because we don't talk about private collections. However, Kevin, being the mogul that he is in this new media world, he purchased a new to him vehicle a little while ago. Now that vehicle is a Mini Cooper. And again, Kevin's got lots of money, but he wanted to buy a used vehicle just to know that it was all broken in, etc. Now, he doesn't have lots of money. He needs the business. Really. So, anyway, one of the stories, I posted this to Kevin. I said, why don't we call this the Niagara 411 Live Video of the Week? Apparently, there was a collision. There was a vehicular accident in the Toronto area on an on-ramp to another highway between a dump truck and a Mini Cooper. Now, apparently the fellow in the dump truck was a little miffed because he proceeded to push this car almost all the way up the on-ramp to a major 4 Series highway in Toronto. And I just thought, as the new owner of a Mini Cooper, that might freak you out a little bit, Kevin.
Yeah, it does. Mine looks a little bit like this.
There you go.
And you can see a little blustery. The Fiddler's Poorhouse sign just actually fell onto St. Paul Street, so I'm just going to alert Mo here. So the show is yours, Lee. All
right. Well, I kind of always thought it was, but I've learned something new today. No, it is definitely ours, and that was one of the things that just caught my attention. Was how do you do that? I understand people getting into a bit of an altercation in major highway activity in, well, just anywhere, but the GTA in particular. The traffic is big. There's a lot of things going on. That dump truck was huge. The car was very little, so I have no idea what the accident was or how it happened. But can you imagine being the driver of the truck? Well, sure, the driver of the car is going to be scared to death, but the driver of the truck being that much of a nut bar to actually, that car could have rolled over, he could have driven over it, like anything could have happened to that small vehicle when being bullied by that great, big, oversized dump truck. Who does that? Obviously someone with serious issues. That was our video of the week. Now we have a picture of the week too. You may have heard something about this, and maybe somebody can clear this up for me, because I am going to let my ignorance fly here and ask a question that I should know the answer to in a bit. But a large cargo ship, probably the largest cargo ship in the world, got stuck sideways in the Suez Canal, which separates Africa from the peninsula on the other side. So what happened, they don't really know. They're not quite sure how this happened, but there it is, this massive. Now, Kevin, did you know the Suez Canal was actually that narrow?
Had no clue. I assumed it was probably twice the width of the Welland Canal.
Yeah, but that's it. That's the whole deal right there. And now it says Evergreen on the side of that ship. If you've read anything about this story, you may see another name. They call it the Evergiven. Now, it is of Panamanian registration, which I find rather ironic, because the largest intercontinental canal on the planet is the Panama Canal. So this thing should have experience with canals. Nevertheless, well, canal's much bigger than this though. The Panama Canal is massive. But this called the Evergreen on the side of the boat. In the articles, they call it the Evergiven, G-I-V-E-N. Now, is that another language for the word green? I don't know. See, this is where I'm parading my ignorance as far as that. But this is upsetting shipping around the globe. This happened a couple of days ago, March 23rd, and they've tried to nudge it free, and they've tried to pull it free. Tugs have been messing around with this thing, and it's stuck. And thousands of ships, representing millions and billions actually, of dollars that flow through that canal every single month, are backing up like dominoes, waiting to get through the Suez Canal. So we give that the 411 Live Picture of the Week award. And if you can clear up either by comment or clicking on and come talk to us and tell me the difference between Evergiven and Evergreen, I would appreciate it.
Lee, just to interrupt the program on purpose, Robert has joined the waiting room, and we tell people the show is always open. If you've got anything to say, all you got to do is click on that link, and you can come on the program. So without further ado, I'll let you take it from here, Lee, but we welcome Robert onto the show.
We do indeed. Robert, how are you? Welcome to the program.
Not too bad. Thank you very much, Lee.
Yeah. What can we do for you today?
Well, I was just going to talk about Rotary.
Okay.
And what our partnership with the city with Happy Ralph's is being completely renovated for and open to anybody with any difficulties whatsoever. It's an upgrade that's been starting around the city, actually. There's 2 or 3 other parks already with accessible equipment on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happening here. And Rotary made a $95,000 donation, which was matched by a grant from the province, called a legacy grant,
right?
And to support the city's $330,000 in redoing Happy Ralph's. Now,
so
the big
which chapter? Sorry, which chapter of Rotary is this?
St. Catharines downtown.
Okay.
Yeah, Sam Walters is our president this year, and we're just very happy to participate in this with the city. The construction's already started.
Okay.
They're taking out all the old stuff and putting in new, more up-to-date equipment in there, so the anybody even in a wheelchair can have accessibility to the park.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, Happy Ralph's has
It
been...
is. No, absolutely.
It is. Happy Ralph's has been a much beloved staple in St. Catharines for many, many, many years. And it still is a wonderful place to walk around. And,
absolutely.
And to be able to get an upgrade like that is just super. So you said, Robert, you said construction has started already. When do you see completion of this?
Late this spring.
Oh, so it's going to be done this spring.
Oh yeah, they've already started the demolishing of the old equipment.
Yeah.
As it's all outdated, and so we're looking at because this is Rotary's 100th centennial year as well.
Yeah, congratulations.
So it's part of our celebration. Thank you. And it's part of our celebration with the city and this particular park as a centennial program. Now, just to be clear, Happy Ralph's is still going to be Happy Ralph's. Now, the new part of the park itself will be the Centennial Rotary Park.
Right.
Part of it. So nothing's really changed. It's just a huge upgrade, and it's been a win-win situation. It's been going on for about a year and a half. It started in 2019, actually.
Okay.
The talking about it, yeah.
Well,
and,
that's fascinating that you would come on and join us. Robert, this is exactly what this program is meant to do, to be able to get the word out to some people that may not be as close to some of these stories as obviously your Rotary Club members and the city politicians and staff that have gone through with this. One of the things about Happy Rolf's as well that I was impressed by the last time I was, and I hadn't been there in years, but my grandson visited with his family, and of course, well, let's go to Happy Rolf's, and that wonderful walkway, that 911 walkway that runs along the lake shore
along the lake.
Yeah,
yes,
is also something not to be missed if people do go. It's wonderful to see the animals and take the rides and those kinds of things. It's great, but that's something that's very impressive as well. I can't wait to see it when your project is completed. Congratulations to you and the other Rotarians. Well done.
Okay, thank you very much, Lee.
You take care.
Appreciate it.
Okay, and happy 100th, by the way.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll pass that on to the club.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them are watching your show.
All right, man. Thanks
again.
Robert. Yeah, nice to see you again. Bye.
Thank you.
Wow, that's cool. Now, see, that is exactly what this program is designed to do. It is designed to give someone an opportunity to give a shout out to something that they are involved with, or something that somebody else is involved with that they want to shine a light on. That's one of the key platforms of the basis of this show. That's super. Because had you heard about that, Kevin?
Yeah, I've seen some social media posts on it, and as a parent of a 5 and a 7-year-old, we've loved going to Happy Rolf's over the years. It's a great little local getaway that you can get up to, and thanks to Rotarians or whoever were the benefactors who make it all possible. It's so nice to be able to go up there. It's free of charge.
Yeah.
Little petting zoo, as you mentioned, that trail along the lake is great.
Wonderful.
And then afterwards, the reward of the playground, which did need a little bit of upgrading.
Yep.
It was fine, but the accessibility element of it was long overdue. So kudos to the Rotarians and the City of St. Catharines, and again, everybody that makes that possible. Just great little upgrade for Happy Rolf's.
And you hit on the key thing there. There aren't too many free lunches these days. But when any family from anywhere is able to come and park their car and take their children and not have to reach into their pocket and walk through that sanctuary and peaceful place and interact with nature on so many different levels, it is still, I'm so surprised but absolutely thrilled that it still exists in these times here that we live in St. Catharines. The only question I have is Rolf really happy? I've never had anybody answer that. I'm assuming he is. Wherever Rolf is today, he's got to be happy at what has become of that.
I'll tell you, Lee, my sister lives in Toronto, and she is always amazed at what we can do here in Niagara for free or next to no cost.
Yeah.
We traveled to Ripfest, I remember this years ago, and she's like, so you can just park here? Like, for free? It doesn't
I know.
Doesn't cost you anything? Like, well, no, we're gonna make that up on what we spend on the ribs. So, but you can just park here? And I go, yeah. Go to Happy Rolf's, so they're same thing. So this is just free?
You can just walk in?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can.
That's great. Well, you are, by the way, enjoying, I hope you're enjoying, you're witnessing, watching, experiencing, pick an adjective. Episode 12 of Season 2 of the 411 Live with Lee Sterry, that would be me. Kevin Jack, of course, of WeeStreem, that would be him. They are powering this program with their technology. Kevin, executive producer. I just kind of tag along for the ride, do what I can to help out. And also our fabulous sponsors, Gales Gas Bars Limited, who have been with us from the beginning of the new iteration. We did a few trial shows back in 2020, and from down the street, etc., and ramped it up to the level where it is now. And when we thought we had something that was gaining some traction in the social media world, we decided to try to bring some people on board that might want to support us. And Gales was the very, very first company that jumped on and said, "Hey, we're in. We have no idea what you guys are doing, but we're in." And they've stayed in. So to Jessica Friesen and Gales Gas Bars for being our primary title sponsor. They fuel this program, and we are so happy that they do. And they're giving up their interview time, by the way. Later in the program, we're going to be talking, actually, in just, about 1 o'clock. We're going to be talking with Bryan Rose of the Niagara Community Foundation. And Gales is giving up their interview time, which we provide from time to time, to support this community endeavor. So we're going to be talking to Bryan about 1 o'clock. Also, our sponsors of Performance Heating and Air. We're going to be chatting with Carlo next week on the program, which is April 1st. It's no joke. Carlo will be here. Also to Sean Simpson and his gang at Simpson's PharmaSave Pharmacies in Virgil and that lovely apothecary in Niagara-on-the-Lake. They also support this program, and Verge Insurance Group. We appreciate Mark Shirk and his son Blake and their crew for coming on board. This is their second go around with us. So Verge, Simpson's, Performance Heating and Air, tagging along with Gales and all of us here. We appreciate it. Niagara 411, Nick, and all of your contributors. That's a valuable partnership that we share as well, and we're thankful for that. So we got a lot going on here. Yes.
I want to point out just a very minor change to Niagara 411 today. Very subtle.
Okay.
But you'll see here that Niagara 411, one of their posts, is, and there was that fire this morning in Niagara Falls. We'll touch on that later. And look at
yes,
some of the video.
that was going on just as we went on air.
But you'll see there we are. Niagara 411 updated their profile picture.
Wow, look at that.
So after more than 10 years of the same logo, this is almost the same logo. And you know what, Lee? This is also going to coincide with a charitable merchandise and apparel run, which is coming up in the weeks ahead. I was going to bring
that up, actually, for you to clarify for us. Tell us what's happening.
Probably within a month, we will begin selling apparel with Niagara 411 and Niagara 411 Live on it. We're talking t-shirts and hats. And a good chunk of the proceeds are going to go to charities. From Niagara 411 Live, we're going to be supporting Momentum Choir. I talked to Nick. Wellspring.
Wellspring,
Nick,
good.
The sales from, and we're going to kind of battle against each other to see who can raise the most amount of money for local charities through the sale of Niagara 411 emblazoned apparel. So if you've ever want to kind of outwardly show your support for the Niagara region through the Niagara 411 brand, we're going to give you an easy opportunity to do that, all while raising money for some local charities. So it's just a win-win-win all around. And I'll let you know that Wyatt is in the green room, so whenever the time is right.
We do have Wyatt. Okay, well, we'll go there in just a sec. But just so you know, when you do see this merchandising effort on your screens or on your social media, whatever, it is not a line our pockets initiative. As Kevin mentioned, it's a charitable initiative from Niagara 411 and Niagara 411 Live to Niagara. So if you have an opportunity to wear a cool hat or get a neat t-shirt, by all means, we'd appreciate it, and you can help us help out. So let's go to Wyatt Richardson. Now, Wyatt Richardson, you may not have heard of. I did not hear of Wyatt. I think you can probably tell from that scene that Wyatt is an animal lover, specifically dogs. Wyatt, have we got you on the horn here? Talk to me.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
How are you?
Sorry?
I said, how are you doing? Sorry.
I'm well. The closer, because we're in an open air theater here today, the closer you can get to your microphone, the better, my friend, okay? That would be awesome. So, one of the most followed stories over social media through Niagara 411 included over the last week and a half or so were the rescue dogs from that facility, if you want to call it that, in the Montrose Road area in Niagara Falls. Could you just talk to me about how that story played out, how you became aware of what was going on and what happened? Can you just, in your own words, tell us the story?
Yeah, definitely. So, unfortunately, on I want to say Friday, March 19th, 2021, a video was being shared around by a mutual friend of a horrible situation which you guys already viewed. It was just unlivable and unbearable. So immediately, the Humane Society authorities, everyone was contacted to kind of come to the scene. It was just very heartwarming. I am an animal activist and dog groomer, so something like that's a 10-minute drive from home kind of just didn't sit right for me, so I felt the need to kind of do a drive-by of my own.
Okay. And then what happened?
So when arriving on the scene, I kind of, from afar, wanted to assess the situation. There were about 4 or 5 cars, I want to say bystanders. The gentleman that found the dogs originally, some other concerned citizens. They were rushing water and food to the property just because of the situation that they viewed. Personally speaking, I have been a part of rescues in situations before, so you kind of just want to assess the situation instead of jumping the gun and trying to be a hero, so to speak.
Right.
So definitely the right measures were taken by contacting the SPCA. Unfortunately, which has been brought to my attention, I believe in the 2019 when Ford government took over, where they passed a law that the Humane Society is unable to actually intervene as much as they want to. They're more or less there for the well-being of animals in the community and kind of sticking to that, so to speak, is what I've been informed. Mm-hmm. So right away, things maybe got blown out of proportion on social media, and people weren't aware of these laws and things like that need to be in place. So some rescues were contacted. Other things in the background were being done at the same time to assess, again, the situation. Nothing can be done overnight, obviously. However, the Humane Society responded very quickly and did what they can. John G., I believe he's the head of the Humane Society, made a public statement that we are collecting all of the dogs off the property, which is amazing. They did their due diligence, and even Niagara Regional responded and just kind of these. Unfortunately, the Humane Society cannot confiscate unless things are signed over to them and this and that. So I just encourage the public to educate yourself on laws and bylaws and things, because in proper circumstances, the conditions the dogs were found in, yes, was squalor and horrible. However, if taken care of properly, there are laws stating you are capable of keeping a certain amount of pets on properties, if there are kennels, and if something is to be a kennel, they have to be inspected weekly, or I want to say monthly, sorry. Yeah. And that's something else that needs to be brought to attention. This was not a licensed kennel for many years. It has been, for many has not been. So
now we saw Kevin post a statement there from the SPCA, and there's another one, is the fact that as far as earlier this morning is concerned, now they may have wrapped this initiative up, but there was still one dog that they were looking to capture so that they could put him in proper care, and he or she was a very, very timid animal. So I don't know whether we have the last dog, but to our knowledge, all of those animals have been taken and looked after and are being supported properly. Now we're also looking for, or the SPCA is also looking for, donations from people to help support these animals while they're in there, correct?
Yes, I believe you are able to take food and there's a whole list of stuff if you want to refer to the SPCA, the Niagara Falls location.
Yeah.
There's I believe on their social media or their website, there are things that they absolutely need and that are proper for their care, instead of just kind of buying random things. Maybe refer to that list, and it is very helpful. There is like donation pages and fundraisers going towards them. I do applaud them again for taking the due diligence and doing what was necessary. Again, there were multiple dogs on the property that were very timid and that were kind of feral for many months. So everyone kind of intervening was kind of getting in the way or impeaching the investigation, more or less. So we just have to do, or the public should more or less kind of let the authorities do what they have to do again, and stay away and allow them to capture these dogs. That's why they are scared.
Yeah.
As soon as these traps were laid, it was like bam, 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 bam. All these dogs were being captured. So they wanted to be captured, like, not to sound cheesy, but they needed the help. They knew they needed the help. They kind of came to the traps. They did what they needed to do, and it's just a very positive situation. And if we all kind of wrap ourselves together and understand the laws, maybe situations like this can be controlled a lot quicker, and instead of a mob mentality breaking out.
Thanks, Kevin, for putting that up there. That graphic that Kevin just put up was the fact that we have, or they have, accumulated funds of about $7,000 so far, and you can donate to continue to help these animals. Wyatt, is it your understanding that these animals will eventually be put up for adoption once they're cleared and cleaned and dubbed healthy, etc.?
From my impression from statements and conversations with the NCCA and other rescue coordinations, the dogs are to be rehabilitated and deemed adoptable. And I believe I read a statement saying within like a 4-week period or something that they will be kind of put out for adoption, and they will be accepting applications. So everyone kind of just stay tuned for that.
Okay.
Which
now,
is very
I'm not asking you to be a spokesman for either the owners or the SPCA. I'm just kind of asking, just in case you happen to know. Question number one: what were these dogs doing there? What was the purpose of having the dogs on the property? Do you know?
I personally don't know. I don't know if it was somebody who suffered from mental illness that has pets that they are incapable of taking care of, or if they were selling them. At this point or moment, I cannot really comment on it. I would like to highlight, though, that there could be some sort of mental illness problem or not proper understanding of how to take care of pets, which is no excuse. However, some people just don't know better, and as the general public, we don't know both sides of the story, so we only know our opinions.
And so, I'm not asking for conjecture. I just didn't know if you might have heard. Now, my next question, probably the last for you today, is they looked to me from the videos that I saw that they were pretty much the same breed of dog. They looked like they could have all been members of the same family. Were they a specific breed, these dogs? Or is it just what I saw on video?
So, seeing them being brought out of the property, I noticed there was a white shepherd. I noticed it looked like one was like a white husky. So I personally cannot confirm or deny that they are all the same breed. However, I can say they were all white. They were all white. I did not see any other dogs living that were a different color. There were a few cats that I know they did rescue. However, there is a rumor that they are a Korean Jintu breed of dog, which I am not sure. But I did want to comment that a lot of the dogs did not look underfed. They were at some point being taken care of. Yeah, and like you can see by their eagerness of wanting to be rescued and jumping up at the cages, just needing the attention. So not all of these dogs were feral. Not all of these dogs were rabid or anything like that. It was just very weird situation, and that's why I personally withdrawn myself from the whole entire thing. I have respected the Humane Society and absolutely everyone involved, and I've learned from this situation that
Well, to you and all those people that drew attention to this and conducted a peaceful protest and a peaceful awareness campaign to help these animals. Kudos from all of us around Niagara, and I'm assuming that out of all of this, you can, at the end of the day, say it's a happy ending?
Yes, definitely. And I appreciate that very much, and I thank everyone that was involved. It's not even a movement that happened. A lot of us did not know each other. We all social distanced. It was kind of word of mouth of the social media power, and it's not even like a group was like, we're going to come here and do this. It was a conglomerate of just telephone, and everyone is supportive. So I applaud our community, and there's much love and support for our animals. So let's kind of take care of each other that way too, and then we have a beautiful world. I
do have one more question.
Yeah, definitely.
And you've been good enough to come in here and talk to us. Who is Wyatt Richardson? Obviously, you love animals, but what do you do? What is your role here in Niagara? How do you live your life day to day? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, no, not at all. I love everyone to kind of know me a little bit more. I'm a very upbeat, outgoing individual. I'm a dog groomer for the last 3 years now. I've been practicing the trade and mastering it. I'm a huge part of the LGBT plus community. We do a lot of fun things like drag shows on live and things like that. Right. It's very inclusive in the community. I volunteer for dog rescues. I attend peaceful protests. I care for plants and absolutely everything living. Not to sound cheesy.
And you're a Niagara Falls boy?
Yeah, born and raised Niagara Falls, and then kind of grew up in Welland, which awesome. I love. Well, but yeah, so Niagara, born and raised.
Again, Wyatt Richardson, thank you so much for joining us. And it is a testament to what people can do when they gather in the name of community. So we appreciate you coming on the program and giving us some of the background story here for us. And thanks for helping us look after those dogs.
Thank you. I'm honored that you wanted to interview me. So thank you so much.
Okay. Have a wonderful weekend.
You as well. Stay safe.
Thanks. Yeah, you too. All right, now that one would say that whoever owns that property has some issues to deal with, but I guess you can't judge when you don't know the facts. But now, you can see what I mean, Kevin, by the fact that all of those dogs look. I mean, they're whitish, I guess, which makes them look similar, but they do look similar. And the reason I'm so happy here is the fact that we hear of these stories, and this is not the first story in Niagara of animals being in less than pristine conditions, and some of those stories have not ended well. But the fact that everybody that needed to did what they needed to do, including the SPCA, has resulted in a really good ending to what could have been a really tragic story here in Niagara as far as those animals were concerned. So kudos to everybody that played a part in helping bringing this to a positive and peaceful conclusion, because it could have gotten out of hand, Kevin.
Yeah, my only comment on that would be it's real easy to criticize it. A lot of time people want action right away. Yeah. And the reality is, when you're an individual, you just want to hop that fence and save the dog. When you're the SPCA, there are protocols that you need to adhere to. Oh. There are checks and balances that are in place that have developed over years, so they can't just do what you want them to do, and trust me, what they want to do.
Look at the story and how long that it took to unfold with the veterinarian over on Welland Avenue a few years ago that was accused of abusing animals in his care, and how long it took and the hoops that the SPCA and the Humane Societies had to jump through to move that story along. And it's good that we have these checks and balances. We have to have these checks and balances. And for the protesters or the zealots, if you will, that exist on our planet, sometimes, as you said, it's not fast enough. But there are reasons for it.
Yeah, 100%.
And kudos to the SPCA for jumping on board when they did and continuing to update us, because that's release that you posted just a little bit early. It came out early this morning or late yesterday.
It did, yeah. Just an update saying I think there's one dog left on the property. I could pull it up. It's on Niagara 411 if people want to see it. Lee, not sure where you wanted to go, but do you want to go for a ride on the Cyclone?
Will you stop doing that? You're reading my mind.
Well, I'll let you bring us there then.
Yes. If you remember, that's exactly. I just glanced down and I saw a Cyclone on my notes, and this post, the film or the movie or whatever you want to call it, video, was taken years and years and years ago. So it probably wouldn't have been called a video. It would have been more of a film in those days. But the Cyclone, people tend to think it was the rocket, but it wasn't the rocket. It was the Cyclone that made Crystal Beach famous. And this, what is it, a 2-minute video, Kevin?
Yeah.
Will take you, if you have never been on the Cyclone, if you're too young, it will take you on a ride that your parents or grandparents talk about. And if you ever have been on this ride, which I have a gazillion times, it will bring back some fabulous memories. So let's go on a ride on the Cyclone Crystal Beach, circa 1960 or whatever it was.
Now, this is just a computer recreation.
A computer recreation, but this is what it was like.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are some people watching right now that remember going on it.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently it was a hellish ride.
Oh, well, it was clickety. It wasn't as smooth as a roller coaster you're going to go on at Canada's Wonderland. It's like it's on air shocks or something. This is a clickety clackety, and you go up and up.
But it was like, I mean, there reports, Lee, and I don't know how true they are, that there was a full-time medic on site just to tend to the people that came off the ride?
I don't know that for sure, but I have heard that.
Could be folklore, right? Who knows?
Luckily, I never needed one.
But this is hopefully...
Now, but see, when you're going down, that is... When you're going down in the back in the real days, Lake Erie was right there. The Cyclone was constructed so as like the highest level of it. When you looked over to the right, Lake Erie was there. You were right at the water's edge. So when you see this grass and all the rest of it, it's like a video game that they've put this ride in the middle of. But this is what the actual structure looked like when you were going around. While you were going around it, though, there was the midway down below, and people were walking around eating ice cream cones and donuts and stuff. And on the one side, as I said, was the actual lake that abutted the Crystal Beach amusement park.
You're not sick to your stomach, are you, Lee?
No. I was just thinking back, the reason I was hesitating, I was just thinking back to a wonderful memory where my mom passed away this past year at 101. And God bless her, I miss her every day, but I remember that I took her on that for the first time ever many years ago now. And once I took her on it once, she was like a kid. She was my mom and she was like the kid. She wanted to go around and around. Great memories of the Cyclone in Crystal Beach. I don't know who shot that or who created it, if you will, from the virtual audio community, but thank you for that. It's kind of cool. It would be really neat if they could replicate it though with the original backdrop. Like if you could go up that, as my wife said when she was watching it, she said, once you do the first one, it's all over.
Apparently it was harrowing though. It was, you're plunging right into Lake Erie.
That's what it looked like. It was straight up, and it was like it barely got there, just and then
And if anybody of a younger generation is thinking, you pansies, today's roller coasters, that's where they at. Oh, no. Just like with the SPCA talking about learning things over time, we learned a lot. And you can't make roller coasters with... like they did back then.
Well, they're too smooth. They're too smooth now. They got these air shocks, and you're going around.
It was rickety and it was scary. It was designed to scare the bejesus.
The problem with it is you felt that it was going to fall apart.
Yes.
At any given moment, pieces of wood would start flying off, and you with it. That's what the cyclone was like. And man, it was exciting. So that was a nice little trip down memory lane. Thanks, Kevin. We are headed toward a chat with Bryan Rose, the Executive Director of the Niagara Community Foundation. We'll find out more about what that is. But I'll tell you why we're going to be talking with him, because this is important. We reach out to businesses around Niagara that are focused on Niagara, so that we can let Niagarans know about what services are out there that they can use that are in their own community. Gales Gas Bars Limited was the very first one to jump on board, and they picked up a title sponsorship for us quite some time ago. Isn't this lovely, the local flora and fauna of the street behind us? Renewed that support at the beginning of 2021 to take us through to the end of June and perhaps beyond. We don't know. We'll find out. And along with those sponsorships, along with those options that we offer people to support the show, is an opportunity to come on and talk about their business and to promote themselves. That's only fair. So in this case, Jessica Friesen, who's the CEO, the big cheese, if you will, at Gales Gas Bars, said, we would rather donate our interview time to an organization that is doing good things in Niagara. So the organization that is going to be taking that time to talk about the good things they're doing in Niagara is the Community Foundation, and Bryan Rose will be here in just a couple of minutes. So we want to thank Gales again for supporting the program. We want to thank them for being benevolent enough to turn their message time over to a community organization that's doing great things around Niagara. So we appreciate that. Next week, by the way, we're going to be chatting with Carlo of Performance Heating and Air. You will see Carlo right up there, a recent sponsor, so we appreciate them coming on. Simpson's PharmaSafe, we had a chance to chat with Sean Simpson last week. Make sure you keep checking out their websites to find out everything and anything to do with the vaccinations in Niagara as well, with regard to pharmacies, and Verge Insurance. Mark Shirk and Blake and their crew at Verge Insurance Group. We thank all these people for supporting what we believe is the next best thing in community media here in Niagara.
On that note, Lee, at the end of the program, we're going to be airing the message, the presentation the fire chief at Niagara Falls gave on the vaccination update. Yep. And just so you know, right now, as it comes to pharmacies and pharmacists being able to administer the vaccine, there's a trial program in Toronto and Kingston. Mm-hmm. There's about 170 pharmacies that are allowed to do it, and they're looking to roll that out in the weeks and months ahead. But again, if you want to know what's going on with vaccinations, where we stand in Niagara and what lies ahead, trust me, everything you need to know is coming up towards the end of the program. There was the fire this morning in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
I think we got time to touch on that.
Good. Do we have an update?
Not necessarily an update, but we can check the comments. That's always where we find the updates in Niagara 411.
Okay, so yes, this was happening just as we went on air around noon, or it started just prior to that. The NF Fire Department on scene at the structure fire, a possible victim still inside. Again, we don't have update, I'm sorry. Stanley Avenue between North Street and Emery. You see there's the Enterprise car rental sign there. And was it the Courtside?
I believe so, yeah. Somebody identified it as the Courtside Inn.
There's
some video footage. So it looks to be in one of those corner units, I guess.
Yeah.
There's another video as well in the comments. Here we go. So I'd imagine that everybody got out safely, you would think. So the
hope.
building's not
we hope, yeah.
engulfed.
One of the interesting postings that we saw in Niagara 411 as well over the last few days is the fact that there is an open fire ban in Fort Erie, and this was announced by the Fort Erie Fire Department and or that division, and the comments were as I would have expected. The comments were such that, well, is it that dry? We're not really into fire ban type season yet. We're just into the beginning of spring. And there is the post right there, Fort Erie Fire Department, public education, absolutely no open air burning of any kind, etc. in the town of Fort Erie. So one of the, I'm not really sure that there was anything specific mentioned except for that fire department, as I understand it, felt that there had been an inordinately high incident of fires. Be they wildfires, bushfires, whatever. And I believe what they've been trying to do, Kevin, is to just halt all fire activity until they could try to get a handle on this situation and what's going on, so that they could figure everything out. And that's probably a good way to go. Like just shut it down, much like the COVID thing. Just shut it down until we get a handle on what's happening.
That's what they should have called it. Should have called it a lockdown.
Yeah, a fire lockdown.
A fire lockdown. That would have got the message across.
You know what? There's a word that will go into the vernacular of our language forever, and we could probably use that for anything. Okay, we have a walking lockdown downtown. There's no walking lockdown. People know what that means now, right? Sorry, there will be no lockdowns for I don't know, whatever. But anyway, you know what I mean. So I don't know where I was going with that. It just seemed like a logical thread that got off the rails. And I'm assuming this handsome gentleman joining us on the screen right now is Bryan Rose, Executive Director of the Niagara Community Foundation. Am I assuming that correctly, sir?
Well, handsome, I don't know about that, but...
oh, you're a good-looking man. Yes, you are.
Thank you, Lee. Great to see you.
So, Bryan, first of all, we appreciate the fact that Jessica Friesen and Gales Gas put us on to you and gave us an opportunity to set up this conversation about the Niagara Community Foundation. So, without further ado, without me making any assumptions, could you just give us the background of and a definition of what the Niagara Community Foundation is?
Absolutely, Lee. Thank you very much. And I'd like to also express my gratitude to Jessica Friesen and Gales Gas Bars for their sponsorship of your show, at the macro level, but also their willingness to feature local community organizations like the Niagara Community Foundations and others. So it certainly speaks to their ethos of community and philanthropy. So my thanks to Jessica and to Gales. So the Niagara Community Foundation, we were founded in 2000. We are a charity of charities, and our raison d'etre, our reason for existing, is to support the charitable sector, mainly right here in the Niagara region. Similar to the United Way, we provide granting dollars to the charitable sector. The major difference between ourselves and the United Way is that we do that through endowment. So we have a pool of assets that we invest, and on an annual basis, we take that investment revenue and then grant that out to local charities throughout the region. So when we started with two $100,000 gifts, and as of the end of 2020, we've grown to just under $65 million of assets.
Wow.
So we've had tremendous growth, and we've contributed in that time right around $18 million into the charitable sector here in Niagara.
18 million.
18 million, yes.
That's fascinating. And you've been in business, shall we say, or in operation for how long?
Since 2000, yes. So since
wow.
2000.
Wow.
We just celebrated our 20th anniversary this past November.
That's like almost, if you average it out, it's almost $1 million a year.
Very close to that. Lee, and certainly those first couple of years, as my predecessor Liz Palmieri, our founding executive director, was building the foundation, with the help of board of directors and amazing donors and fund holders. It took us some time to get up to that point, to be able to grant, over $1 million, over $2 million a year. So we've been very fortunate. And in 2020, we actually granted over $3 million into the community. Wow. So we're quite proud of our achievements in 20 short years.
Bryan, who were the founders? What was the actual genesis of this organization?
That's a great question, Lee. So my predecessor, Liz, who I just mentioned before, she actually wrote an article in the St. Catharines Standard suggesting that Niagara really needed a community foundation. It's a movement that is actually throughout the country. There are 191 community foundations in Canada, and it's also very big and popular in the United States. The largest and oldest, or one of the largest community foundations in the world, is the Cleveland Community Foundation. Okay. As a matter of fact. So in Niagara, Liz had actually heard of this model and she started lobbying for it. And there were some very key early on advocates for this sort of way of supporting the community. Frank Branscombe was one of the original ones. Patrick Dart, former Lord Mayor Patrick Dart.
Right.
Debbie Zimmerman. There are a list, and the predecessors to Meridian Credit Union. They were early instigators of the community foundation movement here in Niagara.
Okay, Bryan, how can people reach out if they need assistance? I guess that would be part two of this two-part question. Part one being, whom are the grassroots people that you serve? How do those grants get allotted? How do people reach out and apply, et cetera? What are the machinations of how this works?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 5 granting periods throughout the year. My amazing colleague Joanne Crick, she's the director of our grants and community initiatives program. So everybody would contact anybody who's interested in applying for a grant from the foundation. We do have some caveats. You do have to be a registered charity. A municipality can also apply. And if you're a non-for-profit that has a relationship with another registered charity or a municipality, you can also apply for funding. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody knows those aren't our rules. That's the Canadian Revenue Agency's rules.
Right.
We're limited by what CRA allows us to do. But our website has a full listing of our 5 granting periods throughout the year. We grant a variety of different themes. So we have environmental grants, we have summer camp grants. More generally speaking, we have our community grants, our mini grants. And our largest granting pool is actually our David S. Howe's fund. And that was back in 2017. The foundation received a donation of nearly $19 million from the late David S. Howe's through his foundation and his trustees to create this fund. So it's really been a game changer for us and for the sector as well. So really, charities will apply to us. We have a full grants committee that Joanne manages. They have to fill out an online application, and then all of those applications are vetted through a very streamlined and transparent and very rigorous process. On our end, the application itself is actually fairly streamlined, but we spend a lot of due diligence focusing on vetting each of these applications.
Bryan, I can only assume, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm assuming correctly that if people want to find out more details about what you and I have been talking about, you have a website or a social media site somewhere where they can find out what the criteria are, et cetera, and if they qualify and those kinds of things?
Absolutely, Lee. So the best place for people to find out further information about the foundation is on our website, and that's www.niagaracommunityfoundation.org. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, all of those things, but certainly our website has the most volume of information and also contact information.
So in these worlds of the Google, all you have to do is throw in Niagara Community Foundation and we find you.
Yes, sir. That's exactly it.
Okay.
And also our contact information. I speak with a lot of people who are interested in opening up a fund with us, and they have a lot of great questions. And I love that part of what we do. I love taking people who are very generous in the community. Whether they've got a lot of ideas of what they want to do, or if they're not quite sure, and helping them make those decisions about how they can support the community, support the charities that they want to support, and leave a legacy here in Niagara.
And Bryan, just to let you know, Kevin just put up on the screen, you can't see it, but Kevin just put up on the screen the contact information so that everybody knows where to find it and how to get it.
Wonderful.
And again, one last little blurb here. This is for all of the Niagara Peninsula, correct? All of the Niagara region.
Yes, so we're based on the state of Maine. Their community foundation there, as opposed to having groups in each cities. We're centralized, so we represent all 12 municipalities from Grimsby to Fort Erie and everywhere in between.
Wonderful. Bryan Rose, Executive Director of the Niagara Community Foundation. Congratulations with all you've done. I'm happy to meet you.
Wonderful to meet you too, Lee.
Hadn't had the opportunity to do so before. And kudos to all of the people you work with for everything that's going on here in Niagara. We will not fail with groups like you guys hanging around, so thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate the time.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah, bye. All right, we learn something new every week on this program, and what a wonderful initiative, and kudos to everybody that supports it, including Gales that gave us their time to promote this and help us find out more about the Niagara Community Foundation. Kevin, coming up, we are just about at the time where we'll be playing you the complete presentation made by Niagara Falls outgoing Fire Chief Jim Boutillier about the COVID initiative in Niagara, which we realize is very, very important. And he put together this presentation which clarifies a bunch of things that people have been rather confused about over the last little while, and he does a great job of clarifying some of those things as probably one of his best tasks or initiatives as he gets ready to pass the baton on to our new Fire Chief Joe Sambito in Niagara Falls. So we want to thank Chief Boutillier for doing this, and it's about 10-12 minutes, but worthwhile watching. And we have Kevin, have we dug up some sort of grassroots musical guest for the program today yet? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but have we done that yet?
Yeah, I think I'll be doing that while we're watching the Chief. And again, if anybody, we always wrap up the show featuring the streetscape of St. Paul and music video from a local artist. So if you've got a music video, by all means, share it with us. There's so many ways to get in touch with us, but the easiest way is just drop it in the comments. And Lee, throughout, I am going to drop you in the window. I guess we should have talked about this off the air, so you can hear the Chief and you can comment on things as he's kind of going through.
Sure. All right. And
I'll turn you down for the passing motorcade.
You gotta love the beginning of summer.
But should we get to it? Because again, this is the most succinct information I've ever heard. Just a second here about where we stand in Niagara, and it's from a very reputable source. So.
Yeah, I think we should. I think this is important. I want to thank Wyatt Richardson, by the way, for being here to talk about that wonderful story, as it turns out, for the dog rescue in Niagara Falls. We want to thank Performance Heating and Air, Simpsons Pharmacy, Verge Insurance Group, and as always, Gales, for being a part of this program. WeeStream, Kevin, and partner Brandon Schramm for making this thing happen. This is 411 Live with Lee Sterry, episode 13, coming up on April the 1st, and that's no joke. And we now give you Chief Boutillier.
So there has been in Ontario 4 vaccines that have been approved now through Canada and Ontario. The Pfizer, the Moderna, which are both very similar in the fact that it's 2 doses and the 21 days up to 4 months apart. The efficiency is 95% of being against COVID-19 and protected. It is a relatively unstable product in the fact that it needs to be kept frozen at different temperatures. The Pfizer is about minus 80 degrees, and the Moderna is more of a freezer temperature. That creates difficulty in moving the product. Once it's unthawed and put into the syringes, then it can't be moved any further. So it gives us some logistics around how we're going to do those issues of administering it. The other one that we've had is Astrazeneca. There's been a lot of conversation in the media about Astrazeneca, and the latest information from Astrazeneca is the fact that it can be administered to anybody from 16 years of age to 100 plus years of age. There was some concerns early on about the over 65, but that's been cleaned up. And the other one that's approved now is the Johnson & Johnson, which is the only one at this point that's a 1-dose vaccine. And I'd like to point out too that the AstraZeneca in my slide it's showing 60% efficiency, and that has also increased to around 70% now. I'd be remiss if I didn't tell the public and the council that it comes down to get the first shot that you're offered, regardless of what vaccine it is. Don't wait. If you're going to get it, and move on from there. What's happening now in order for us to get more vaccines into arms, the government and the National Advisory Committee has extended our interval between first dose and second dose to 4 months. So that came about on March the 10th. Anybody that had received their second dose before March the 10th, that's good. Anybody that was about to receive their second dose after March the 10th is now being rescheduled to be 4 months out. Again, this is primarily in order for us to get more vaccines into arms and get more people protected. As I said, 95% of the people after the first dose have immunity to the COVID-19, which is incredible numbers, so we want to get as many as we can. The provincial protocol shows that we are starting to move into phase 2, which gives us about approximately 8.5 million people. This is where we start into our age brackets, beginning with the 80 and over, and then we will decrease every 5 years from there. We've just announced, Monday went live on the provincial portal to register for 75 to 79, as well as the 80 and over. And we've been fortunate in our region, we have about 3% of the 80 and over that are still needing to register for the vaccine or are waiting to get the vaccine. As well, late this afternoon, I was informed that the 75 to 79-year-olds, we have 40% of those in that age bracket are registered or have already received their first dose, which is great news to hear today. The other areas that we're moving to is obviously the high-risk congregate settings, shelters, community living, the homeless. They're doing those. Then we're going to go to frontline essential workers, individuals with high-risk chronic conditions and caregivers, and then other populations, communities that are facing barriers related to the health across Ontario. Frontline essential workers is a really, really big group. It includes first responders, teachers, education staff, food processing industry, grocery, people that work in the grocery industry, people that work in the bars and restaurants. You've heard that today by Premier Ford or yesterday. That group is going to be prioritized in order by the regional task force on the numbers and how we slot them in depending on the risk that they're at. Further things, the community has been directed to deliver community-based mass evacuation or mass vaccination clinics, which we will talk about in a moment. They're also doing a primary care provider pilot program whereby doctors and their staff are going out and visiting different congregate settings, like an example for our area would be Stamford Estates here in Niagara Falls. They would go there and take care of the individuals that can't make it to a clinic. As well, the province is doing a pharmacist pilot right now in the Toronto-Kingston area. They have about 170 pharmacies that are administering the vaccine at the moment. all AstraZeneca due to the delivery and the ability to move that around. And then in the next week to 10 days, they're hoping to ramp that up to 350 pharmacies across the province, and then up to 700 within the next month. And of course, the Niagara region will be included in that group at one point or the other. Regardless of the vaccine, if you've received it or not, public health measures are still in effect. We still need to wear our masks. We still need the physical distance. We still need to hand sanitize. It's critical to do that. That's not going away anytime soon. I've talked about the expanding of the pharmacies in the primary care. Very fortunate to have this up and running. It'll be soon to coming to our region to get this going as well. Just be patient on this. Mass immunization clinics. 34 public health units are planning these to roll out across the province in the next few weeks. The Niagara region rolled theirs out on the 18th of March. And that was at our McBain Center. And as you can see by these two pictures, you come in the one on the right, you would come into the front door, you'd be screened by the screeners, and then you would walk to the tables, and at that point you would be registered, ask for your information, and you need to make sure that you have...
Now, as you mentioned, the McBain Center is now closed, and that's what he's talking about. But in just a second, he's going to talk about the rollout.
Because the McBain was up to the 23rd.
Once you come through there, then you will queue up in the line down past, if you've been to the McBain, where the racquetball courts are and the squash courts, which is on the right-hand side of picture number 2 on the left. And you would come in the end, and somebody would greet you and send you to...
And again, here he's just kind of talking about the process that occurs, right? The process that occurs. But yeah, some great information here.
You receive your vaccine, and then asked to sit in one of the chairs in the middle. Wait for your 15 minutes to make sure that there's no side effects. And then you would go to the end of the room, which is at the top of the picture, to check out, whereby you would get your little piece of paper that would tell you the date to come back, as well as it would give you the information of the vaccine that you received, the lot number, the type of vaccine, whether it was Moderna or Pfizer. Over the past 5 days, the McBain Center has been administering both Moderna and Pfizer.
That was what I was wondering.
Administered roughly 3,200 doses in the last 5 days at McBain.
Because originally it was just Pfizer we were getting.
The province started with the registration of the provincial portal. The first that went live was on the 15th of March for the 80 and over age group. The target was April the 15th for the 75-year-olds and above, but we've been doing such a great job across the province and in our region especially. That date was changed to last Monday, March the 22nd. So we have the 75-year-olds and older going, along with the 80 and over, along with some very healthcare workers such as police, fire, EMS, nurses, doctors, dentists, everybody that's dealing with patients on a one-on-one basis have also been sent to get their vaccine. The tentative date at the moment is May the 1st for the 70s and over, and I would hazard a guess and throw it out there that we'll definitely be going early on that one. And then June the 1st is for the 65-year-olds and over, and again, I would say we're going to be going earlier on that one. All of my little predictions, I'll have to caveat by saying it's dependent on us getting the vaccine, which is coming at a steady pace, but it could be coming quicker. Niagara Falls Clinic at the McBain is now closed after today.
Here we go.
Public Health is going to do rotating clinics across the region to ensure that everybody across the region has a vaccination clinic in their community at least once. So the next stop is in Welland tomorrow. They'll be at the YMCA in Welland for 3 days, and then Grimsby YMCA. Fort Erie will be the Leisure Plex. Niagara-on-the-Lake will be the community center. Wainfleet will be the Firefighters Community Hall. West Lincoln will be the community center. St. Catharines and Thorold is a joint one, and that'll be at Brock. Lincoln is the community center. Fort Colborne, I do not have at this point. Pelham will be at the MCC. And I have to remind you that if you go to book online, pick the earliest time and date and the location you can get to. So just because it's not in Niagara Falls and you live in Niagara Falls, you can certainly book in Welland or any other 11 municipalities.
That's very
so
important,
that you
not
can
to
get the
wait till it
vaccine.
necessarily comes to your spot. Just book it.
Mr. Mayor, going on from that, to date, we've done about 54,000 vaccines to the people in our region, just over 10% of our population. Public Health has administered around 17,000, which includes our long-term care, our high-risk homes, our McBain Center, etc. And the Niagara Health System, which is at the Seymour Hanna location, has administered approximately 36,000, and about 3,000 of those are for second doses. So we're doing a great job. Obviously, we could be doing a lot better, but again, that's all dependent on us getting the vaccine. Province put out a portal, a provincial portal, whereby everybody can register. They did a pilot for the first 2 weeks of March, and then they went live on March the 15th. It's been up and running ever since. There was a few glitches in it with regards to the McBain Center. It was overbooking the vaccines at one point, but that was good. It was rather be double booked than not booked at all, to be quite honest. Then what happens is when you go into the portal itself, these are the screens that you will see. And as I said, you need to have your health card if you're doing it for somebody else.
These are the provincial portals, correct?
Because you need the number that's on the front, as well as you need the number on the back. With the booking portal, the other thing that's important to know is if you are someone that does not have a computer, can't get on the internet, don't know how to work a computer, if you contact the City of Niagara Falls and go through the clerk's department, they will direct you to a staff member who will be willing to assist you in booking your vaccine so that we can ensure that all of our members of our community get their vaccine at the appropriate time. And to just go back to the vaccine clinic for 1 second, it's taking around 87 of our staff, and when I say our staff, I'm talking public health, nurses.
I think that's a pretty good synopsis there, Lee.
Yeah. I was wondering, people might be wondering why it was actually the fire chief that was delivering this as opposed to a representative of the Niagara Regional Healthcare System. And to be perfectly honest, I can't answer that question. I can only assume the fact that it was the fire department that was asked to help in the rollout.
I believe, and somebody could correct me, I believe at the municipal level, the fire chief is kind of the municipal go-to for health concerns because it's a regional and provincial concern is health, but I believe at the municipal level it falls under the umbrella of the fire chief. That's as far as I know.
Sure. And one of the things that we commented on there, and he mentioned, but I want to stress as well, is when you go online and you see how this rollout is planned, it is really, really important to not, if you live in Welland, for example, it is really, really important to not just look at the Welland designation. Look at your age group first, and then register in whatever area in Niagara that is serving that age group first. So go where you are allowed to go as soon as you can go there. You don't have to wait until it shows up in your backyard.
Another point that I took away from that, Lee, is they found through administration that the first vaccine is actually 95% efficient. So that's why they backed up the second shot, saying, listen, it's 95% good, so let's get as many of those shots as we can before we worry about tipping that back up to 99, 100%.
Yeah, let's make sure we get shot one in.
Exactly.
And then we're like 60% ahead of the game. Okay, thank you, Chief Boutillier, and enjoy your retirement, by the way, whenever that happens. You've earned it. And to the new chief as well, Joe Sambito, we look forward to getting to know you a little bit better. We want to thank also today Wyatt Richardson for joining us to talk about the rescue dog situation that was a big, big story, went sort of viral here in Niagara. Thank you very much for that. Also, big tip of the hat and kudos to Bryan Rose, Executive Director of the Niagara Community Foundation. We really appreciate finding out about everything that your organization has done since like 2000, and how many people in Niagara probably are unaware of it are aware of it now. And for that we also thank Gales Gas, who fuel this program, and also the time to thank WeeStreem for making this thing work. Kevin and his partner Brandon Schramm, it's been a blast. Performance Heating and Air, Simpson's Pharmacy, Verge Insurance Group. And by the way, we won't go into it right now. I don't want to head into a back-patting session, but we were crunching some numbers last week as to how our show is performing compared to 2020, which was the inaugural year of all years to start a new venture. 2021 has been light years ahead of what we were doing in 2020, like 171% reach increase and those kinds of things. It's kind of a dry numbers game, but we're very, very pleased with where we're going, and we thank you. The reason I mentioned it is we thank you for clicking in and participating and being a part of us, because again, it is yet one more Niagara venture that is not happening anywhere else. And we're happy to do it. Next week, we will bring you the April 1st edition, Season 2, Episode 13. Isn't that unbelievable that we have the unluckiest number on April Fool's Day? Show 13 on April 1st next week, right here at Fiddler's Poorhouse. Thank you to Dave McParian and his gang. Nick at Niagara 411, always a pleasure to work with you and your contributors. And we shall now play you, or ourselves, off the stage. I'm Lee Sterry for Niagara 411 Live. Thank you to the bikes for streaming by and presenting the background noise. We'll catch you next week. Have a great weekend.
Saying I don't know what to do. I'm losing control, and you're playing, and I got a lot on my mind, but I have not the time. Body into a nighttime dream, pulling out of these cosmic seams. Well, if you just listen, you'll know what I mean. Pure devotion to the dream. Flee from the darkness in your sky.